And we are live. Let's go.
Hey now.
It is the Dos Padres podcast. Debut episode. We're here covering the Boston sports scene, takes on the national scene, NFL picks, pop culture, fantasy sports, gaming, all kinds of fun stuff. Just two dudes having some fun. Come for the sports, stay for the hijinks. I'm Major J. That's the Sundance Kid. Sundance, how's it going?
It'd be going a little bit better if we weren't down 8-3 against our hated rivals, the New York Yankees. But some things in life you cannot script. And unfortunately, Nasty Nate was really nasty tonight. I mean, stunk like garbage, unfortunately. So he just didn't have it, and we are taking a pounding. In the seventh, it is 8-3. And why?
Well, and this being the debut episode, I want to go ahead and just clear any confusion up for anyone to start. We are not podiatrists. We are not the two dads from the late 80s sitcom. We're just a couple of Boston sports fans having some fun. Want to get that out of the way. First things first, let's lead off with a little segment that I think we're going to lead off every episode with. Again, attributed to a good friend of ours, hopefully future friend of the podcast, Ryan McCollum. What you sipping on? Dan, what you sipping on?
What you sipping on Friday? Sipping on this darker ale, which comes to us courtesy of Two Roads. Rosemary's Baby. I am not a big Two Roads guy myself, but I will tell you, this is a nice fall ale. If you're looking for something that screams fall, this is it. A little pumpkin, a little cinnamon, a nice dark ale. It's fantastic.
Huh. All right. Well, we'll look for some of those in my mailbox or on my stoop. I, tonight, am enjoying a nice Terramana.
Ooh.
Courtesy of The Rock.
Courtesy of The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
He sent it to me personally. He did. Well, that's like, yeah, well, hey, I've got friends. So I think, and you alluded to it a little bit ago, we'll go ahead and start with the Sox tonight. They are coming in tonight, big series against the Yanks, 7 in a row. Unfortunately, not looking good to continue that. You know, City Connect uniforms, I don't know.
City Connect uniforms are about to go adios.
It might be time to disconnect.
Yeah, I think we're going to disconnect from the City Connect. And all of you baseball purists out there that, used to smoke cigars at Fenway in the bleachers, you're going to get back your true traditional. Should be happy about that. The City Connects, they're going to go bye-byes. I won't be shocked to see them come back at some point in the playoffs. I do feel
it's funny you should say that, because apparently they have been approved by Major League Baseball to be used, to be worn in the playoffs. That's awesome.
So, tonight, a stinker again. Eovaldi just did not have it from the get-go. Yankees jumped all over him. Eckersley was talking about it in probably the third inning or so, just commenting that he didn't have a single strikeout tonight. And when Eovaldi doesn't have a single strikeout by the third inning, something's wrong. He's usually got, 1 or 2 in the first.
Yeah,
so
he was having issues right off the bat. It was clear. Yeah. Immediately they came to the mound. You could tell he was mouthing something. I don't know if it was just, issues as far as signals or signs or something. Clearly they weren't on the same page as far as what he was even throwing to begin with. I don't know what's going on. It wasn't there. Plus, it's the Yankees. I mean,
yeah.
Looking at the standings now, you figure as far as the wild card goes, we're 2 clear of the Yanks in that second spot. Toronto's 1 back there. So we're up 3 on Toronto, essentially. With these 3 games, coming off of a pretty good week, but this is still not in hand by any means.
No, it's not. But that said, you still feel good about their chances because what lies just beyond this 3-game swing with the Yanks is 3 with Baltimore, 3 with Washington. So
they have an incredible schedule after this.
You feel pretty good about that.
I'd still like to take 2 or 3, but
Yep. In the here and now, you'd like this game to just be competitive by the 9th. You want to be within 4. If you lose, 10-6, okay. At least you had an opportunity to come within 1 swing if they were to load the bases. Overall, they just got to win a game this weekend. You just don't get swept. You get swept, that's when the old New England superstition, crap button gets pressed big time around the city. Yeah.
Yeah, and as we're recording this now, again, it's 7th inning. They're currently down 8-3. So top of the 7th. Yanks are still bad. They got a couple guys on. So not looking fantastic. Hopefully better news tomorrow, assuming they can come back here. But even just looking towards the playoffs, should they get there, they're starting to feel like, other than the Garrett Whitlock situation, they feel like they've getting guys in place.
Yep.
We've talked about Jose Iglesias, who's been a revelation of sorts this month.
Unfortunately, who will not also be eligible for the playoffs.
Not eligible for the playoffs roster. No. But it's funny how I also saw the first baseman since the All-Star break have a .999 OPS, first in the American League. Impressive, given the issues they've had all year. I wouldn't mind swapping that a bit and get the fielding percentage up above 900 or something in that range. But no, we'll take it. But, Schwarber still, he's looking all right. He's trying to hold his own at first. Bobby D, the bat came alive.
Yeah, listen, next week we're going to have a real conversation that's going to really spin Alex Cora's wheels. Who is going to sit that first game of the wild card playoff game? It's either Dalbec or Schwarber, and maybe JD if he doesn't quite go on a tear in these next 5 or 6 games. So
it probably comes down to whether it's righty or lefty. Depending on who they play, or if it's right. But assuming it's a righty, I think they just stick with the same plan. It's Schwarber, and Bobby D is there for as a middle
off the bench
hammer. I don't know the rotation. Again, having Sale back helps. I think tonight's an off night for Nate. I'm not overly concerned. It's the Yankee. You're going to have these games. Overall, I haven't been overly concerned with him. I feel like they have enough to win a wild card game, to win a short series, division series.
Yep.
Anything beyond that, this is gravy anyway for this team. Again, expectations were low coming in. Kind of knew that, and again, going back to the moves or lack thereof at the deadline. Schwarber, fantastic, no complaints. Austin Davis, Gretzel Robles. I personally haven't seen Robles pitch in I don't know how long. I'm sure he has, but the fact that I haven't seen him says a lot.
No, he's pitched really well the last couple of weeks. He's pitched very well. And I am not a Hansel and Gretel fan myself, but I got to give the guy credit. He's, what he reminds me of, and I think I texted you this earlier, a couple of weeks back. He reminds me a lot of Ugueth Urbina. You have no idea where the ball's going. I don't think he knows where it's going. But when
Urbina, sometimes you're worried it was going to be in your ear.
So I get that sense with Robles, and I think he makes some hitters uncomfortable. He can be, as they say, wildly effective or effectively wild. Take your pick, doesn't matter. I do think he's going to help them in the bullpen in a division series.
He'll have a moment. He's going to have an opportunity at this point. He's going to have an opportunity, no doubt. There's going to be a spot at this moment. They're going to need him to get a big out or outs because unless it's the end of an inning, you got to go 3, right? So, let's hope it doesn't come to that till way past the wild card game. But
Agreed.
You know, as we go into the bottom of the seventh, we're 8-3, still Yanks. Yeah, again, what lock being key to this team, I think, still just having that flexibility with the arms, and that and Barnes. Barnes just, I'm not asking for early season shutdown, lights out Barnes. I'll take even kind of like 2019 Barnes. Like I'll just meet me in the middle somewhere where I at least feel like you can throw strikes somewhat, or if you're not throwing strikes, something around where the guy might actually swing at it and you're fooling guys.
Right.
You got Chip Douglas, Mr. Invisalign, Adam Ottavino as well. They gotta be throwing strikes. If one or two of those guys aren't there, then they're in trouble late innings. I think it could go. I think this could go either way with the bullpen.
Yeah, no, I like the way the bullpen is shaping up, with the exception of Barnes, who unfortunately just lost it. Just no other way to say it. I mean, he just lost it after the All-Star.
I don't know
break.
if it's fatigue. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was fatigue, but all of a sudden, it just on a dime, he just seemed like it just was gone.
That was a switch being flipped, and it flipped down for him. He just could no longer get anybody with his fastball, and he lost
breaking
confidence.
Stuff is just in the dirt. It's not
in the dirt constantly.
It's not that same bite.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Like you said, we got the Yanks coming up this weekend. I believe who we say we have tomorrow. We've got Erod Sunday, and tomorrow is not Sale's missing the series. That's the tough part with this.
We do not have Sale for this series. Tomorrow could be Mr. Pivetta. Let's.
It is Pivetta.
Yeah,
Nick Pivetta tomorrow. Erod and Nick. So tomorrow's Cortez Pivetta, followed by Sunday. I'm sorry, yeah, Cortez Pivetta, followed by Erod and Montgomery.
Potentially. I like the way things line up Sunday. I'm not so sure about tomorrow. Pivetta, Cortez, Deck.
Cortez is a mean little guy with that mustache on the mound. Someone's
got
maybe a believer.
Someone's got to find him, handcuff him, shave off that mustache. Maybe that unmasks him in some way, and he becomes human again.
It's the power in the mustache.
But listen, if you took him off the Yankees, I think they're 5 games back from where they are right now. Cortez has just been.
He was that pitcher that we thought they didn't have, that they didn't go and get at the deadline when they went out and got all those bats. When they went out and got Rizzo, and they followed up and went and got Gallo.
Yep.
And we're just there like, great, you're just going to bash people. No, we've got secret weapons, apparently. Fantastic. Yep. And we're right there.
Brian Cashman, you said to yourself, who the heck is this guy? And he has been, as you said, a revelation. There's no better word. I mean, he's been fantastic for them. You don't know what you're going to see from him in the playoffs. That's the other thing there. And again, it's only going to be one game that we see him. At this rate.
Let's hope. Yeah. All right. So at this point, we'll get through the weekend. Hopefully, we'll still be clear of the Yanks and Toronto. Again, we're 3 clear of Toronto right now. We get back to this next week. Hopefully, we are still talking like we're in a playoff position, and we'll go from there. I think that is a good segue to get us into some Patriots talk at this point. We have a big game with the Pats coming up this weekend.
Repping the merch tonight.
Playing the Saints at home on Sunday. It's a big game. There's been some injuries here and there on both sides of that ball. We actually have a resident specialist queued up and ready to come in to talk about some Pats injuries.
Hey, now.
Let's go ahead and bring him in. There he is. Dr. Christopher Geary.
Good evening, man.
How you doing, Chris?
I'm good. I was sipping on a Bud Light Orange earlier. I'm keeping it classy.
But it's empty because you were waiting so long for us.
Exactly. Yes, that was actually that was my ninth. So we'll see how this segment goes.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. So first off, debut episode, probably go ahead and introduce yourself. If you want to tell us where you work, who you are, you don't have to. You can keep that PII if you want.
No, I'm Chris Gary. I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I specialize in sports medicine, and I practice at Brockton Hospital. I was at Tufts University Medical Center for 14 years, and now I'm on to greener pastures down in Brockton. So
it's impressive.
By greener, I mean I drive past 4 different.
Greener is, and you make more money. Yes.
On my way to the hospital every day.
Touche.
There's a lot of those. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you joining us to talk about the injuries, and we didn't bring it earlier, but it's obviously not orthopedic, but Garrett Whitlock, as far as the Sox go, I believe that was a pectoral strain.
Well, that is orthopedic. It's just not football. So, yeah.
Is it orthopedic? The pec is orthopedic. It's not a.
I fixed those.
Extremities only.
It's a muscle. It's got a tendon attached to it. Attaches to a bone.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a pec strain. Probably nothing serious. I think he'll be fine for the postseason. It's one of those, if it was earlier in the season, I don't even know if he would have necessarily gone on the IL for it. But at this time of year, it's like they probably just figured
with the extra roster spots too. I mean, it's only 2, but it still allows some flexibility to be able to do it and just and maximize that out. As far as the Pats, we were actually talking about this offline earlier. We've had some guys who were limited practice, kind of were iffy this week, actually ended up coming off the injury report today, which was good news. So as of right now, it looks like we're dealing with Judon with the knee, came off the report. So
I don't know what
actually concerned about.
I was wondering, maybe like a slight MCL sprain or something like that. I mean, it didn't. I think he played the entire game on Sunday.
Right.
I don't remember him being out. So it's probably something relatively minor. They were just doing some maintenance on him earlier in the week. So hoping that isn't anything that keeps cropping up or lingers.
All right. So in that same vein, Damian Harris, same thing. Didn't hear anything. All of a sudden popped up with a finger.
It's probably like, he probably jammed it, some sort of sprain or something like that. Not the kind of thing that should be.
The fact that he came off, just a ball control thing is what you think of with thumb finger type of thing. But
sure.
The fact that he came off is probably a good sign.
And hopefully he doesn't fumble again.
So maybe they can blame the finger on the fumble.
Yeah, exactly.
2 weeks ago. So one of the ones I think we're concerned about is Trent Brown. The calf came out was it week 1, correct?
It was week 1. Yeah, he was so he came out early. I was at that game, and he came out, and I saw him on the sideline. I mean, that's always a good sign when the guys get injured and don't actually go in the locker room.
Right.
And they had it wrapped, and then he was actually standing on the sideline in the latter part of the game. So I'm sure it's a calf strain kind of situation, not uncommon, but again, kind of the thing. If it was the playoffs, I'm sure he'd be playing through it, but they don't want this thing to become a recurrent injury for him over the course of the season, so they're going to err on the side of keeping him out a little bit, which has been much to the detriment of the offensive line. I think you're the third string right tackle this week. So
I've been beefing up. I've actually been
I was going to say
on the core content. I know, much to your chagrin, Peter Wilson's would frown upon that. But I've been beefing up just in case I get that call. He's limited, listed as questionable.
Yeah. A lot of it will probably come down to just how he feels Sunday morning, quite honestly. Like, I'm sure that in game planning for both him being in and also whoever the hell is it, Justin Herron's the backup at this point. I don't even know. Yeah,
I think
it is Herron.
Yeah,
when he's not saving, people in the park per se.
Right.
It happens. Josh Uche also showed up.
This one, I'm
today. This is new with a back.
Yeah,
back's gonna be tricky.
Right.
Well, you talk about that.
He was limited in practice with the back, or he was out? Yeah, limited.
This is a limited.
Yeah. So if he was limited with, if he has a back injury that he's limited with, it means it's not something like, he didn't slip a disc. He could have just, coughed or sneezed and strained his back, or he was deadlifting and he, just tweaked it a little bit. So they're just managing him in practice or whatever.
Something you clearly have much experience with is the deadlift.
I have a lot of experience throwing my back out while sneezing now because I'm so freaking old.
Oh, affectionately known as the Sammy Sosa. Yes.
Yeah. Please don't compare me to Sammy Sosa. Have you seen that guy lately? Oh my God!
You gotta dye your hair.
And get a lot of
and get injections and go Michael Jackson. Yeah. Adrian Phillips, the other player that was on the list, but that's not injury related. I don't know what that's about. I would guess with no practice all week. Probably won't see him Sunday. Hope everything is okay with him if that's a personal matter. On the other side of the ball,
my assistant.
You have touche.
Come on, Dad.
I'll be in a minute.
So we've got Marshawn Lattimore injured his thumb in week 1.
Yeah.
Had some quick surgery on that, but was not able to turn right back around and come back on for week 2. He's shown as limited as well. Oh, we've got an assistant.
Yeah, that's my assistant I was talking about.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he's a medical assistant.
What's up? Am I medical assistant?
Yeah, you're a medical assistant. Yeah.
Why? Why the heck?
Because I need help. I need a lot of help. So much help. Okay, I'll be right in. Okay.
I'm not. Wait. Why am I a medical assistant?
I'll tell you later. Okay. I'll be right in.
Please tell me when.
Love the kids.
Very professional.
Kids.
Yes.
It's all right. So, Marshawn Lattimore had the thumb. A bone chip he had surgery on. I'm gonna force you completely. I don't know anything about
whatever it is. It's nothing major. I mean, he's back full go. I mean, 2 weeks later. So I don't even think they took him off the injury report.
I think I thought he was listed as limited.
Oh.
Whatever. He had it. Yeah, I was gonna say he had that. I think it was last Thursday. Was back to limited practice the next day. Had a shot to play Sunday. Didn't. I'm assuming he's active coming into this week. I'd like to think maybe they'll take a couple shots at him just to see where he's at.
Yeah,
they would if they had somebody to throw downfield, which we'll get to in a moment. But he's obviously their best outside cover corner.
Yeah, I mean, that being said, he's not, the one thing that might impact him would be catching a ball on interception. So,
right.
I mean, he's still going to be able to run with guys and cover. So, regardless.
Yeah, it just comes out if he's guarding that thumb somehow or sort of extending the hand and whatever. All right. So, that's, as far as the injuries go, it seems like nothing is, you know what? Before we go, we will address, so we've got Quinn Norton still on IR for first 3 weeks.
Right.
Is that an abdomen issue, I believe it was? I don't know.
I think that's what they said. Yeah. I mean, of course, with the Patriots, I mean, with all NFL teams, with the way they stash people on IR/rosters, the guy's a rookie kicker, and they made us not want to
just expose him early.
Burn a roster
they know
spot or expose him now. So, that being said, if it is actually an abdomen issue for a kicker, that is no bueno because that's all. I mean, that kicking motion's all core and oblique.
That's your core.
Yeah.
Right.
So if it's if they actually, I think one of the kickers a couple of years, recently was out with core surgery, sports
right, a sports hernia.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that doesn't sound fun. Period. Much less having to go and rely.
Well, let me tell you a little something about sports hernias. No one knows what they are, and no one knows how to treat them, and it's basically complete crap. But basically, I mean, it's this diagnosis that basically has come up in the last decade. There's this one guy Myers in Philadelphia who does almost all of those quote unquote sports hernia surgeries. And I know a guy that worked with him briefly and was like, he basically just makes an incision and puts a bunch of suture and crap in there. It's there's no actual.
Wow.
I think quite honestly, the primary thing.
Let's get Myers' first name and put up a do not submit disclaimer.
Basically, I think what actually helps those players is that they have surgery and they have to shut it down for 2 months. I think if they didn't have surgery and shut it down for 2 months, they'd probably be almost as good.
Right. God, like you said, and with a kicker too, that's invasion. So going back to the issue with Brown on the other side, the only thing is the Saints did lose on IR Mark Davenport. They're one of their top rushers on the edge as well. So given whether we have Brown or not, hopefully that balances out.
Yeah,
we'll see. Before we let you go, I want to actually touch not Patriots related, but still big for the NFL and if anyone fantasy related. Christian McCaffrey last night, that hammy. they're being a little guarded on that, but the fact that they ruled him out within 10 minutes and then now saying a few weeks.
Right. I mean, so obviously there's all kinds of, there's different grades of hamstring injuries. The vast majority of them are non-operative, and it just takes time. And it's just a question of like, is it 1 week? Is it 6 weeks? If you actually rupture your hamstring off your pelvis, that's potentially a surgical issue.
Right.
But the vast majority of them, it's more just like rest and then it's like a matter of managing it, because it's like, all right, you don't want to come back too soon, because then it does become a recurring thing. So.
And the fact that they have yet to actually last I saw, they have yet to put him on IR is a positive sign. You think, you would think, and the fact that they ruled him out so quickly in the game, if they're putting him on IR, the fact that they haven't yet, maybe a good sign that they're cautiously optimistic. Again,
could be that they want, they're getting the
MRI
looked at by someone else,
right. Second opinion.
Right.
And there's no immediacy because they don't need a roster spot necessarily until next week anyway, because they're done for a week and a half. But
yeah.
And I got one more because we've got a doctor on the line here, and I have to take advantage of this. In all of your years practicing, Dr. Geary, have you ever had a patient that had simultaneously 2 sprained ankles?
That is impressive.
Where does that happen?
Always, for now and forever, known as the Wentz.
The full Wentz, yes.
The full Wentz.
No, it's pretty impressive. I mean, like, he's out there. What are you out there, like, playing on one badly sprained ankle and then spraining the other one, and then it's, that's
the only explanation.
Yeah, it's some, you get the feeling of him, like, he's gonna be like a newborn foal trying to get up, and like he's all jacked. I can't imagine he's actually like, he literally doesn't have a leg to stand on. It's like, it's one thing if you can
literally
if it wasn't his, you say he's right-handed, so if it was his left ankle, say, and he could still drive off of his right ankle to throw, but that guy can throw. I mean, he can throw an interception on a shovel pass, on 2 good ankles. I can't imagine what he'd do on 2 bad ankles.
Sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, the fact that he actually, as of now, he practiced today is actually possibly questionable to make a goal of it on Sunday.
Yep. Could be a game time decision.
I guess Jacob Eason and Brett Hundley, they brought off the practice squad. So I think when you've got Jacob Eason back there, you're quietly thinking, just put as much tape as you can on that shit. I'll believe that later. And just go out there. It's kind of like Frank's Red Hot now. You just put tape on that shit and just
it's like
give it
PRP. Put that shit on everything.
All right. So appreciate you coming on, Dr. Geary. And again, you being a true doctor, there is no no rivalry here. Because again, we are not podiatrists. I covered that in the opening.
Neither
we're not podiatrists. We're not doctors. So there's no issue here. Thanks for coming on. We
no doctor-patient relationship is assumed or implied.
Correct. And thanks to your assistant as well. We will hopefully see you next week.
All right, sounds good, guys.
All right.
Hey, thanks, Doc.
Take care.
Okay.
Right. It's always good to get some real in-depth injury insight from a real doctor instead of just sitting here and speculating ourselves.
Absolutely. So I'm going to take his response as no. I've never treated someone with 2 sprained ankles at the same time.
And this is a man who I can attest to. He has seen some stuff.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's not seen double simultaneous, maybe he's amputated 2 feet at once. I don't know. That's not the same thing though. But the fact that it's something he has not seen speaks volumes. Although not surprising with the Colts right now. But we're not going to talk about the Colts. We'll get to that because we have some NFL picks to get into in a bit. We'll come back to the Pats. What's your general feeling about this game? I think we're on the same page, give or take, about our expectations, what we think needs to happen, and what we think will happen.
For the Patriots Saints, I see them. Listen, this is Belichick at his best. He takes a step back. He assesses. He says, "What's your best weapon?" Oh, that guy Alvin Kamara. Well, I'm going to take him away. So we're going to spy him. We're going to load up. We're going to make sure that the run is not beating us. And we're going to force Winston, to get into a read game. And is he making the right decisions? We'll find that out pretty quickly. I expect it to be turnover city, baby. I really do. I'm going to call 3 interceptions right now, right here and now. And I see a Patriots victory, 27-17. Mac Jones picks up his first NFL touchdown pass.
Oh, you've heard it here.
How about you? What say you, Major J?
I think I feel generally the same way, a little more reserved, potentially. I do. I'm with you on the Mac Jones touchdown pass. At this point, I think he needs to throw one. Even if we're being real, I don't see it being a downfield, attack that way type of situation. But I think at this point, simply just like if they move the ball a little bit, get in the red zone. Grant, this over/under is. We'd have to look at the DK Sport and the sportsbook lines, but I believe it's like 41. It's a low over/under. Don't expect a ton of points in this game, but at some point, Damian Harris can only handle so many runs to the end zone. Max, law of averages said it's always going to have to throw in the red zone. We've got some guys, a couple tight ends, guys outside. I do agree. I think he's going to get it. I think he'll do okay. This team's going to have to win the trenches, though. Harris is going to have to play his part. I think I don't. I'm going to say again, we'll get to picks later. I'm going to say 20-16, grind it out, but I think it's going to happen. They need to get this win. Again, we've talked about this before. We've got Tampa coming in the week after. We're not going to look ahead to that game, but it just kind of emphasizes the importance of getting a win here at home. I've got gnats flying around here. A win here at home, get to 2-1 before a massive, massive game, a proving ground type of game the week after.
What game is that? Is there a big game coming up for week 4 for the Patriots?
Week 4, we don't want to look ahead, but there happens to be the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming to town.
And I don't know if they coming to New England? Is that in Foxborough?
Oh, that's what I've heard. Again, I don't look ahead of the schedule, but I hear things.
We have to check StubHub.
Well, maybe, although they might boot you because the prices are so high. But I also heard their quarterback is also not bad. Might have some history with the team. I got to dig in a little bit. Investigative reporting.
Interesting.
But again, it's I've got sources.
We'll save it for next. Yeah, we'll save it for next week.
I believe it's going to be a big game. So.
Okay.
I think it's a big game. Again, we've covered this. It's a big game. I do think, again, it's going to be a grind. It's not going to be an easy game. You got Jameis Winston. I don't think he's as bad as we saw with the interceptions a couple of years ago when he threw 30 picks. He did also throw 30 interceptions. 30 touchdowns rather. But overall numbers first 2 games, not what Sean Payton's looking for. I think Payton's looking for a little more. I don't think his job is in jeopardy yet because Taysom Hill can't throw the ball, period. I don't think that's the type of offense. Ideally, Payton wants to run, even though they signed Taysom Hill to a ridiculous extension. I think ideally they want Winston to be able to play level-headed, make smart decisions, get the ball downhill in spots. But, he's hit or miss with that. He can be heady. He can be thrown off. You get some pressure on him. That's where, going back to Judon being off their injury report, they can get a pass rush on this guy. He can be rattled. He can make really bad decisions, poor decisions. That's where the secondary comes into play. Play back, play coverage, and I think they can 3 picks, I think, is well within the realm of possibility here. Your call. I'm going to say 2. I think he throws 2 picks. Let's say defense brings one back for a score, though, because he'll make a ridiculous play within their half of the field.
Right.
I'm going to say 2016 Pats. It's going to be a grind-up game. There's no way around it. The Saints play tough. They play good defense. Again, they had this team is coming off of they embarrassed the Packers week 1, came back and lost their second game, a letdown game, week 2. Again, they're on the road again. They haven't had a true home game yet. We're catching them kind of road weary, which I think is also helpful as well. They just want to get home at this point. I think it's going to be tough sledding for the Saints, but they're going to play tough, man. Like that.
I expect them to play tough. I don't disagree on that point.
Payton has his teams ready. Payton has his teams ready as much as they can within the personnel. Again, this is also a team, we haven't even talked about this. This is a team, you've got Winston who can throw the ball downfield. You don't have a downfield receiver right now. You realistically, a legitimate one, because you got Michael Thomas on the pup, who's not able to come off. You've got Marquez Callaway, who's been fair enough, but they haven't even utilized him these first 2 games. There's a lot of expectation for him to step up in the interim to be a number 1-ish for them. He hasn't been able to do that. He's had a couple targets last week. You got Traquan Smith on the IR. You don't have a lot of receivers to work with. They have old Fred Hogan, I believe, signed to that squad. And I have to see if he's even on the roster, but they brought him off of a cross league roster to come in and play. Chris Hogan. So,
listen, you're right on. You're dead on. This all lines up as a Patriots victory. Will it be an easy game? No. Should they win it? Yes. They're at home playing a quarterback that's prone to interceptions. Belichick typically hones in on what your best thing is and takes it right out of the game. And I'm not scared by the Saints defense. It's not a bad defense, but it's not world beater, but by any means. I expect the Patriots to be able to dink and dunk and move their way up and down the field. And I expect Mac to find the end zone.
And that's a great point. Again, you're bringing up here is I think that's what the media and people are clamoring for. Is this the game that Mac is unlocked within whatever his unlocked potential is right now?
Sure.
I don't think this is it. We've talked about this before off camera. Is this the game that he's going to start going down? I don't think it is. Honestly, because I don't think it matches up right for him, and I don't think they're going to need to. I think it goes back to what you said, dink and dunk, use a James White, use your guys out of the backfield, hit your slot guys. Myers is going to be there. Yep. They've got good backers. They're not necessarily great in coverage, but they're there. They're strong. I don't necessarily see Aguilar or Bourne getting loose. Anytime a play can happen at any point, a busted play, sure. I don't think that's going to be part of the game plan. I don't think this is the week that we start testing those waters with Matt going downfield.
It's not. And can I be honest with you?
Yes.
It's probably next week. It's probably next week against the Bucs. Listen, the Patriots are famous for this. They really are. They're listen, they are famous for going into big games and pulling some tricks out of the bag. And I absolutely see that next week. I will bet the farm on it, and I don't own a farm, but if I did, I bet the farm that you are going to see Mac's first attempt at a 30-plus yard pass against Tampa Bay. Hate to look so far ahead.
They might have to. For no other reason, because they might have to actually at some point.
I won't be surprised if they. I won't be surprised if they do it on their first possession. I won't be surprised if it's a lateral over the side to White, back across the field to Mac. Oh, who's wide open 40 yards down? Kendrick Bourne, and I see it. I mean, this is what the Patriots want to do. Belichick is fantastic at understanding elements, understanding weather elements, understanding road versus home. He knows what takes opponents out of a game quickly. He will talk about getting these plays up on the Jumbotron, and this is what you want your opponent to be looking at when the replays are going and they're sitting on the sidelines waiting to get the ball back. I'm telling you, it's coming. It is coming. Is it going to be successful is a different story. But I expect to win this week, and they have to win this week. You cannot go up against Tampa Bay 1-2. You're going to come out 1-3, and I'm not going to kiss the season goodbye at that point. But that's a big hill to climb with a rookie quarterback.
Agree. The thing is, though, they're running into an interesting part of the schedule too. And we don't have to spend too much time on this. I'm just pulling up the schedule here, but actually I have it up here. So you've got. I mean, you don't ever want to make a game a must-win, especially when you're 1-1. But when you're at home against a beatable Saints team, knowing what they've got ahead, you've got a potentially very obviously tough game against the Bucs week 4. After that, because if you go into that game 1-2, And then let's say they can't take care of business, understandably, against the Bucs, who just look amazing right off the bat. Not taking anything away from that team or Brady. Don't come after me, Alex Guerrero. But week 5, they're at Houston. I'd like to think that's a winnable game. Week 6, Dallas. Week 7, the Jets. So after this little stretch of the Saints and the Bucs coming in, you've got 3 games. 2 of those are at home that you'd like to think are all winnable as well. But after that, things get a little dicey. So, after that, you got the Chargers, you got the Panthers, you got the Browns. So it's like you got to rack up some. You got to win. In the end, you have to win the games you need to win. DTN, win at home. It's an interconference game against the Saints. They don't see you. I think this defense will own the game. I think we both agree to a win. 2016 is my call. We'll hammer it home. Segue to our next segment. NFL picks. We went ahead, did a test run earlier, made some picks from last week's games. I'm going to go ahead, bring those up. We'll look at those briefly. Move into our picks for next week, for this coming weekend.
Let's do it.
All right. So brought a little Google Doc. We're going to track these this way. And once this does go up on YouTube, I actually post the link for this. If anyone who might actually be following wants to follow along, we'll make this available for anyone else. They want to see how terrible we are. Or in this case, not terrible, just slightly above average, as we've used to be. From last week, we both went 9-7. I'm actually going to go.
Take it. It's a winning record to start off with. Means we know something about sports. I like to think so. I'll take 9-7. I'll take that on week 1. You don't know anything in week 1.
Well, you know what? To start, actually, we're going to go ahead before we even get into the actual picks. I went ahead and made a little graphic for us.
Okay. Graphics.
So we started week 2. 9-7. 9-7. This is just for posterity.
Yeah.
9-7 week 2 on the season. 9-7. We did not get to week 1, but we'll keep this updated as we go. Any games stand out to you from last week that you want that were surprising? You wish you could take back?
From last week. Gosh, again, I bring it back to I hate answering a question with a question, but are the Raiders for real?
We're going to get to that because that's going to come up in our week 3 picks. I think we're going to have a discussion about that in a few minutes.
As I look back at last week, I mean, for me, that's really the Saints. They crapped the bed. That was a real lunch job by them. Thank you very much, Sean Payton, not preparing the troops.
I could be proud.
Outside of that, the Seahawks. Come on, guys. Come on. How do you blow that at home? Jeez.
I know. Well, I will say we both hit our upset specials. I had the Panthers winning outright on the road. At home. When New Orleans, we already spoke about, went in there, giving 3.5. Panthers won outright, 26-7. That wasn't even a game really. And I will give you credit. I think yours is actually bigger than mine. The Ravens, you had them at home. Kansas City went in, giving 3.5 at Baltimore. I took the Chiefs. You had the Ravens with a win outright, and you got it because that team came out of nowhere. Obviously, they looked disheveled to begin with and came back and beat Kansas City. I think there was a shell shock moment for Andy Reid and that team. I think they're going to respond to that this coming weekend, which we'll get into. But kudos to you there. We both had the Packers with a blowout over Detroit. Yeah.
Can I tell you something really quickly?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't buy into the Chiefs. I really don't. Let me say this.
Yeah.
Do you think? Let me rephrase this. In the next 5 years, how many Super Bowls do you think the Chiefs are going to win?
Next 5 years.
Next 5 years. Yeah.
Generously going to give them 1.
And that's a 50-50. That's a 50-50. I like
something
Andy
about
Reid.
that mystique. That team is gonna keep them from going.
And part of it is Andy Reid. I'm really sorry, but they've got all the talent if Bill Belichick had that talent,
No,
are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And so I just think that they're cursed by Andy Reid. I just don't love the Chiefs when it comes down to it. Kudos to them for pulling out the Super Bowl victory a couple years ago, but I won't be surprised if they don't win another one for 5 to 10 years. I just won't. Not until Andy Reid is out of there. I don't buy into them.
I think we're on agreement there. All right. So coming off of last week's picks, both 9-7, we're going to roll into week 3. I'm going to go ahead and kill this, and we'll bring up the DK Sportsbook lines, which is what we're going to be using every week just to go ahead and make our against the spread picks. I'm going to go ahead and just, again, being the first episode, disclaimer on this. We are not professional gamblers. We don't specialize in this. We are not giving advice. Entertainment purposes only. Now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead, go through the picks here. I think we're starting with, if I remember correctly, first game is, we did both pick last night's game.
We did.
One of us got that correct. That
one of us is 1-0 this week.
This guy. It was this guy. That guy. That guy got it right. Sipping on his beer. Yeah. So we had a line of Carolina went into Houston. I think that was an 8-point line. Remember correctly. That was an 8-point line. Carolina went in, giving 8 at Houston. Houston hung in there for a while.
They did. I think we traded some texts early on.
Yes. The word son of a bitch, one word, was used frequently. I'm not sure if we can use that word or not. We'll find out. But ultimately, 24-9 victory for Carolina on the road. Should have gone with my gut. It actually seemed too easy. Houston played defensively, played tough the first half. Had a huge fourth down stand when Carolina was down. I think at like the 10-ish. They had a 4th and 5. They went for it. Or I'm sorry, it was a 4th and 1. I think at like the 10. But they were held. But Houston just doesn't have enough offensively. Yeah. They're looking at a second-rate rookie quarterback. I think Tyrod Taylor had been there. I think the line wouldn't have been 8 points. So the 8 points baked in the fact that he was out. But Houston's a mess. They're one of the bottom 3 teams of the league. What can you do? You got me. So you're up 1 on the week. Starting with early games on Sunday. What do we have here? I think if you scroll up, we have our first game. I think it's Arizona at Jacksonville.
It would be Chicago at Cleveland. Cleveland.
Okay, so we got Cleveland is giving 7, I believe. Last I saw.
You are correct, sir. You are correct.
Okay, Chicago at Cleveland. I'll tell you what. As we do these, and we'll start this with this episode moving forward. We'll alternate first impressions, etc. I'm going to give this one to you to start. What do you got here?
Yep, rookie quarterback Justin Fields gets the start. I don't think he's quite ready. It's a home game for Cleveland. This is the return of OBJ. OBJ is not going to have a huge game. He's not going to have a huge game. I don't believe Landry is playing
today. Yep. Landry's out. Landry's on IR. Right.
Landry's on IR. I thought I heard that. I'm still taking Cleveland, even laying the points. I'm taking Cleveland. I see this as their victory. So Browns.
Okay. So right off the bat, we're going head-to-head on this one as well. I'm all in on Justin Fields. This kid is ready. Granted, he's had some up and downs with, this first couple of games coming in. Matt Nagy's has, come up with some packages for him. In the first game, he came in, had a rushing touchdown. last week was forced in on the Andy Dalton knee injury, bone bruise, hence getting the start this week. I think this kid has all-world talent. I think he's about to take, to an extent, the league by storm. I think they actually go into Cleveland, cover this game. Not only are they covering, I'm making this my upset special right off the top. Chicago goes into Cleveland, upset victory. And everyone is going to be talking about Justin Fields after this game. Kid's a playmaker. They've got Allen Robinson, Darnell to the Mooney on the outside, a couple of receivers. I think Montgomery is going to be tough. Great. Cleveland's got a nice defense. I don't think that stops here, but I think Fields brings enough of a dynamic, has just an incredible physical skill set. He's going to get this Bears team in to sneak out a victory. I'm taking the Bears, not only with the 7, but outright to win.
Very good.
Let's see. Next up, we've got
Baltimore and the
Detroit.
Lions. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to leave this one off. That's a 7.5 line. Baltimore giving 7.5 at Detroit. Okay, so this line moves because the last I had, this was at -9. So this has moved dramatically. So this is going to throw me off a bit. But even with the 7.5, I'm taking the Lions. I don't think they're a good team. I don't like Dan Campbell as a head coach. He's way too rah-rah, old school, smash him in the mouth. That's not today's game. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it from day one with his opening press conference with, you're going to punch us in the mouth and go to the ground. We're going to eat a kneecap on the way up. All kind of nonsense. That said, Detroit played San Francisco tough that first game. I'm sorry, they fell behind. They came back and made that a one-possession game out of nowhere. You know, they went to Green Bay. Not easy. They're not a great team. They played them kind of close early. Green Bay ran away with it. It's fine. Coming back home, Baltimore's got some issues. Even coming off that big Kansas City win, again, these teams coming off of huge highs. Not to say this is a letdown spot. I don't think Detroit wins this game, but going on the road, I can see Detroit easily playing them within a possession to stay close in this game. Baltimore's got some issues in the backfield still. They're juggling 8 million running backs. Lamar Jackson's got a stomach bug. Supposedly he's working with. Passing game is still kind of in flux. Their O-line is the worst possible I've seen it in years. I'm going to take the home team getting, especially when you're getting the hook. I'll take the 7.5 Detroit to cover.
Yeah, put me down for Detroit as well. I liked them. This is the line that I had seen earlier today. So I don't know if the line had moved terribly today or if it had moved in the last 2 or 3 days.
Since last night. I think I pointed this out last night.
Okay.
So there's been some heavy money on Detroit. 9 points is a lot at a home team, so it makes sense. In fact, it's still more than a touchdown. I don't think we'll see it get past 7. But
but you touch on everything that I could possibly throw out there. Detroit is playing tough. I do believe that Baltimore is not a complete team. They just aren't. And I love John Harbaugh. I put him in the top 5 coaches in the league, but he's really, trying to make chicken salad right now out of chicken poop because I just don't think that they are firing on all cylinders, period, offense and defense.
They may not have all the cylinders. That's the thing. That's
and that's part of
it. Yeah.
Injuries have certainly, injuries have really knocked them down a peg. So with the points, I'm going Detroit. Yeah.
All right. Fantastic. All right. So next we've got, Arizona. This line has not changed. Fantastic. Arizona at Jacksonville coming cross country, giving 8. I'm sorry. This line has actually grown because I had this at 7. It's now at 8. Arizona giving 8 at Jacksonville.
This is Cardinals. This is Cardinals all the way. It is week 3 and, train wreck, car crash, must-see TV for what is going to begin to be a countdown on Coach Urban Meyer in Jacksonville. I just don't think he has staying power. I think it's unfortunate because I do think Trevor Lawrence could be a good quarterback, but he's clearly not performing right now. Who expected him to, quite honestly. And I see Arizona, making that long plane ride and covering. I really do. So I'm taking the Cardinals.
Okay, I am also with Arizona here as well. Again, cross-country trip, but, I thought about this one briefly because Cedric Hopkins is actually questionable to even play now on Sunday. He's been limited or not non-practice, pretty much all week as of today. I think he's not token questionable, genuinely questionable. That said, you mix just the dumpster fire that Urban Meyer has lit a match on in Jacksonville these first 2 weeks. Fully agree about Trevor Lawrence. I think this kid can and will eventually be good, probably under a different head coach once Urban decides to flee with his tail between his legs. Lawrence makes some plays, but he throws picks. For no reason, because he's being forced to make those damn plays. Cliff Kingsbury, never been a complete buy-in on him with Arizona. I think they come in. I don't think being on the road makes a difference here. 8 points. I think Arizona can win this 10 by double digits, even if Hopkins doesn't play. They've been running all kinds of receivers out there. Christian Kirk in the slot. This is going to give more time to Rondale Moore, potentially in the slot if Kirk has to go outside to cover for Hopkins. A.J. Green, who has not really done much of anything. He's turning into ash. He's old. We get it. He's also run the second most routes on this team. He's just, by virtue of being on the field so damn much, he's going to make a play. Arizona's coming at on all angles. Kyler Murray, already, granted, too early for MVP talk, but he's already in the talk. If you want to listen to national media, he's right there, and for good reason. The guy is lighting it up. I just don't see Jacksonville having anything either side of the ball that can keep this even close, maybe for a half. That's it. I'm going Arizona as well. We'll move on to the next game. Chargers at Chiefs. This is going to be a doozy. Chargers getting 7, which has actually gone up because I had them at only getting 6.5 last night. So it's now a full 7. What do you think, Sundance?
So once again, as we've discussed just a couple of minutes ago, I am not an Andy Reid fan. I think the Chiefs are a bit of paper tigers. Yes, they have a lot of talent. I don't think it's always used properly. That all being said, give me the Chiefs. I'll take the Chiefs.
Huh, okay. You got me there. All right. I good thing I didn't start typing. Okay. Chiefs giving 7. All right. So I can agree with everything your take there. I like Andy Reid. Not that I'm friends with him. I don't exchange Christmas cards. He seems like a nice guy, despite that mustache. I like him. I don't have anything against him, per se. But there's something just not there. And maybe it goes all the way back to the Eagles-Pats Super Bowl.
Probably.
Donovan McNabb couldn't run an effing 2-minute drill. Because he had cardio issues, couldn't take time, all that stuff. There's just something intangibly not there. Kansas City's played 2 close games. They had to come back from behind at home against the Browns. Maybe a testament more to the Browns. That's fine. First game of the year. Okay. They had to come back to win that game. And then they also lost a heartbreaker at Baltimore. So, they're coming back, you would think fire ignited back home off of that devastation against Baltimore. Chargers, though, Herbert has not been playing up to his expectation the first couple of weeks. They've played well enough, had a nice home. They're actually coming off of a home loss to the Cowboys. I still think there's enough talent on that team, both sides of the ball. In a divisional game, teams know each other. I think Chargers are going to keep this close enough. Going back to what you spoke about, the Chiefs, something's kind of missing with this team as seen these first 2 weeks. Something's off there. I think the Chiefs win, but I'm taking the Chargers to play this within a possession. I'm taking the Chargers with the points.
You can have them.
I will take them. Thank you. Appreciate that. Next up, we have Saints Pats?
Saints Pats. Go ahead. You get the first pick here, sir.
All right. Pats giving 3, which is up from 2.5 earlier in the week, even with the 3. I mean, it's one possession. Again, look at that. That over-under has actually gone up to 43. Very low-scoring game.
We've already talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah. This implies a 23-20, which is in line. I'm going to take the Pats. Homer pick, whatever. But, I can see them winning by 4 or 5. Or this is a push. But I'm going to take the Pats. -3. We've already talked about it. I'm not going to go too in depth. I think they're going to milk this out. Defense will take care of business down the stretch in the third, fourth quarter. Winston with the turnovers. I think they'll get this, 2016-ish and move on to next week.
110% agree with everything you said. This will be a defensive smash mouth game to a degree, but I see us forcing Jameis into some interceptions. And I actually think we turn some of those into points. And so I see 3 interceptions. I see a final score of 27-17. And Mac, again, finds the end zone for the first time in 2021.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Side note with this one, if we had to bank, who do we think is going to get that pick 6 for the Pats? I'm saying J.C. Jackson. I just the kid's awesome. I think he's
phenomenal.
Player. I think he's definitely gonna have a pick. I think I'm gonna say he's gonna bring one back for a score.
Yeah, you could easily see J.C. Jackson getting a pick 6, and you could see a long one, right? I mean, you could see Jameis moving the ball. And then at the 7-yard line,
he's got it going. He's feeling it. And
where did he come from? Out of nowhere, J.C. Jackson up the 10, the 20. I totally see that. I don't know. I'll throw out there, McCourty. What the heck? He'll get a batted tip ball and race it back 30 yards.
I love it. All right, move on to the next game here. Let's try to get these moving. Let's see. Colts at Tennessee getting 5.5, which is, I believe, the line I had here as well. Should we just go ahead and change? The Pats were -3. Make sure we get our picks correct.
So for me on this game, we've already spent some time talking about the situation in Indy, Wentz and geez, he actually might play this week. Are you kidding me? The guy has 2 sprained ankles. Give me the Titans all day. I'm telling you this right now, the line could have been 15.5 and I would have went Titans at home. I do see the Titans being that type of team this year that gets better week by week by week. At the end of the season, I see that they're going to be 12-5, 13-4. I really like the way things line up for them, especially bringing in, Julio Jones. Vrabel's a solid coach. I think that he, just has to manage through some tricky spots early in the season, every season. But he seems to figure things out as the season goes on. I like Tennessee in this one at home. Absolutely.
Yeah, so we're on the same page here with this one. Pretty much you covered it all. I think Tennessee kind of got their bearing last week with that second half comeback against Seattle in Seattle.
Yeah.
Good teams, not to say Tennessee's a good team, but they're not a bad team. Good teams, wins like that galvanize a team. So coming off of that, I don't think this is a riding high moment. This is coming home, seeing an inferior opponent who has plenty of issues. They've got some injuries on the line. Carson Wentz, if he plays on 2 bad ankles, if he doesn't play, Jacob Eason and Brett Hundley. The fact that they're even talking about if Wentz doesn't play, possibly rotating their 2 quarterbacks, that's not a recipe for success in the NFL. Is to come up with a game plan of, hey, we're going to ride. You don't ride a hot hand at quarterback. I'm sorry. You make a call, the team, you get a game plan around that guy, and you go ahead. And Wentz, even without the bad ankles, not looking great. I think on the road, I think at this point, Tennessee can win this by a touchdown. We're both thinking Tennessee to cover. Moving on. Next game, Washington at Buffalo. Washington now getting 7.5, which is consistent with what I've got from last night. I think I'm leading off this game, correct? So
you are.
I'm going to go ahead and say I think I have. Yeah, I've got Buffalo to cover. I think Heineke at quarterback is doing an admirable job covering for Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think he's doing more than expected for a backup quarterback after the Fitzpatrick injury. I think he's going to do as much as he can. Again, you're going into Buffalo. Buffalo's riding high off of a demolishing of Miami. Coming home now, I think this team's going to hit its stride. And this is with Josh Allen not being like real Josh Allen. He's kind of been a little bit, he hasn't been running the ball as much. He's been a little bit off. I expect that to change. I do like Washington in the NFC East in general. As a team, I think that team's performing as well as it can. I mean, you're coming back to Orchard Park. Buffalo's got a pass rush now with Gregory Rousseau coming off the edge. Their draft pick as a rookie. They're stout on the back end. I think on the road, I think it's going to be too much for Heineke and the football team to manage. I think Buffalo wins this double digits. I'm taking Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm not going to waste anybody's time here. I got Buffalo as well for a lot of the same reasons, that you already outlined. Big win for them. They're at home. I don't think Buffalo, I was not one of, the few people, not that there was a lot of these in the offseason, but, few people saying, Buffalo come back down to earth. Patriots got better. The division could be up for grabs. No, Buffalo's a very good team. I think their coach, McDermott, is a very good coach. Give me Buffalo here.
All right. I like it. Next game, Atlanta. Anyone who knows me knows there are some ties here with the Falcons, sadly. Going to the Giants. Giants laying 3.
Yeah, I'll lead this one off. It's this is Giants homecoming city, baby. They are going to do a number on your former Atlanta Falcons. I see them winning big. I see them finally getting their only victory of the season. If I'm being honest, I don't think the Giants are that good either. But I think Joe Judge has got something. I think Daniel Jones has something. Does Daniel Jones, in any sense, remind you just a little bit of a potential career arc, potentially, of a Ryan Tannehill? A guy that is really just kind of, look at that game. Oh, geez, he was terrible. Oh, geez, he's not that good. And then he goes somewhere else in 5 years.
I can see that.
And wow, he's actually a pretty decent quarterback.
The difference being Tannehill coming to the league was also a converted wide receiver. So he had one, maybe, I think it was 1 year of true quarterback experience out of Arkansas.
Good point.
Or But I see what you're saying. They're both, they both have that solid, not over the top mobility.
Yep.
Which we saw at Jones last week was, I mean, the kid was making play. That might have been his best game of his career. Yeah. I can see that because Tannehill, obviously in Miami, you can attribute that to the Gase factor because Adam Gase was there in Miami when Tannehill was there, and Gase pretty much ruins everyone anywhere he goes. Hates Sam Darnold. But I could see that, absolutely. I mean, I'm taking the Giants as well. At this point, it's not about, it used to be dirty birds go fly. Now it's just they're dirty because they've got feces all over them. This team,
Yeah.
this team going on the road, they made a bit of a they tried really hard for a quarter at Tampa, and they made it a game with some nice plays. But this team, man, this team's not ready. They've got issues all over the place. They are cap strong. They couldn't bring in any real talent in free agency because they're so cap strong. They've got Matt Ryan on a huge deal. They drafted Pitts, had to sign. This is a team that had to restructure and cut guys in the offseason just to make room to sign their draft picks.
Right.
That is indicative of the talent on this team, period. I'm sure they try really hard to earn that paycheck, but I think this is a get well game for the Giants coming off of a crazy game last week.
Yeah.
I think they come home. I think they cover. I don't think it's a blowout, but I think they win by a touchdown. Saquon, this is a get-right game for Saquon. He gets on track, which he needs. The fans need it. That team needs it. They need Saquon to be Saquon. This is a perfect get-right game for them. Giants cover easily. We'll go on to next, Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. This is, Pittsburgh given 3. You can lead off on this one, Dan.
This is a tough one. This is not an easy game.
Divisional game, man. These are always tough.
Divisional game.
AFC North, man. Smash Mouth. These games are tough. These teams play each other tough.
Roethlisberger looks a lot more like crap burger. He is just not. He may be at the end. I don't want to pull a Kellerman. I don't want to say the cliff. But there's
no denying what we're seeing. Our eyes tell us something.
Yeah, he may be at the end. I'm going to take the Bengals. I like, Burrow, the young quarterback there. I like the rookie wide receiver. I know it's a home game for Pittsburgh. I know they have their pretty little yellow towels. I don't care. I'm going to take the Bengals with the points.
All right. That said, I am actually taking Pittsburgh in this game, despite everything you said being 100% true. This game, Pittsburgh right now is basically Najee and the noodle. Najee being Najee Harris, who they're running into the ground, which is why they drafted him, despite the fact they have ridiculous O-line problems. But sure, let's go get a running game. Okay, got it. And you've got Ben Roethlisberger with a noodle arm who can't get the ball downfield. We've talked about this. Takes forever with the ball. Has no offensive line. Still under duress. So you got an old guy who takes forever to throw the ball under duress with a bad line. Also with a pec injury, who has admittedly said he can probably get his arm up. How are you getting the ball downfield? I don't know. They also are now potentially down Deontay Johnson, one of their starting receivers, who is out for this game. So you're looking at Chase Claypool, Juju playing a bigger role, possibly the tight ends having to get involved, Freiermuth, Ebron. You've got Najee potentially probably need to be a safety valve for Ben out of the backfield. I'm still going Pittsburgh only because Cincinnati has similar issues to an extent on their side of the ball. Their O-line coming off last year, not good. They tried to make some, granted, they made efforts. Unlike Pittsburgh, Cincinnati made some effort to sign some guys, Riley Reef, et cetera, to shore up that a little bit. Still looking like Atlanta feces. Burrow with that knee, a little tentative. They're also down a receiver. They got T. Higgins potentially also going to miss this game. So you got Jamar Chase on the outside, Tyler Boyd nice on the inside. No tight ends to speak of. Joe Mixon's going to have to handle a load out of the backfield. I think there's enough there. I think Pittsburgh on the defensive side has enough of a pass rush, is stout enough to give Burrow and that line enough fits at home. I think they cover barely, but I'm taking Pittsburgh here.
Boom. There you have it.
Next up, we get Seattle at Minnesota. This is another very intriguing game for me. Seattle giving 2 on the road at Minnesota. Seattle coming off of a rough loss at home against aforementioned Tennessee. Now rolling into Minnesota, who's 0-2, despite the fact that they have played well offensively. This is a team that's scored has accumulated 400 plus yards of offense and scored over 24 points each of their first 2 games. To lose them both probably speaks volumes about their defense, but they're now at home, catching Seattle, traveling. I think this is actually mine. I'm actually taking the home dog, Minnesota, getting the 2 points. I think, again, they clearly have defensive issues. This is a team that actually was really bad defensively in terms of it from the injury standpoint. They were down a bunch of linebackers last week. They're getting Anthony Barr back. I think they have Kendricks back. O-line has been okay enough. They have a decent third receiver in KJ Osborne emerging a bit. Dalvin Cook looks like he's going to play. This is, my thought is he's going to play. He's a gamer. Yeah, I'm taking the home team to get a win, finally, get off the schneid, getting the 2 points. Russ Magic, fine, but I'm going to take the home team.
I thought about taking Minnesota as the home team, 0-2. Traditionally, Minnesota's a pretty good team, right? You can usually find them in the hunt down the stretch.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Talent's there. They're very narrow, but the talent's there.
I don't know that that's the case this season, which is why I'm taking Seattle. Seattle, to me, is for real. They have a very good coach. They have a very good quarterback. And their defense is not sonic boom that it was 10 years ago, but it's good enough. And getting those points, I'm going to take the Seahawks. Absolutely.
Fantastic. All right, so that next on the list here shows a Monday guy. We've missed some games here. So we've actually got, I don't know if you can scroll up. I know we're missing a Miami at Las Vegas.
Yep. Nice. Yeah, that's here.
It's not on screen. Is it further up?
Nope. No, it is right there.
Scroll down for it. Bring it down for me. It's just not in view.
How about now?
The opposite way.
No, see, it's down here.
There we go.
Yep.
Nope.
You don't see Miami and
sorry,
Vegas?
we do. Yeah, we got all right. So we got Vegas. So at this point, Miami at Vegas. So this point, this has changed a bit. So this was at 4. It's now down to 3.5. Vegas still favored. Go ahead and take the wheel on that one.
Oh, I should have queued up my favorite Vince Vaughn line of all time from Swingers. It's Vegas, baby. This is Raiders easily. The unsettled situation at quarterback for the Dolphins, and to me, it's unsettled. I don't know how Flores, being such a good coach, and he is a good coach, I don't know how he can pull Tua out of games at times and send in, backup quarterbacks for certain plays and things like that. I just don't think it sends a good message. I'm being really honest with you. I like Flores. He finds a way to win. This brings us to the question, is Vegas for real? I think Vegas is for real. I'm taking the Raiders. They're at home.
Okay. All right. So this game, we've talked about the Raiders. I've have my doubts about the reality of this team. However, in this game, I'm also taking the Raiders. They're coming back. They're playing with momentum after a big win on the road against Pittsburgh. Miami, man, coming off of that drubbing against Buffalo. I agree. I think in terms of the larger scale, the Bill coaching tree, I think Flores is up there. I like him as a coach. I think he's doing the right things with this team. I mean, Miami still looks somewhat out of sync. They have a weird running back rotation. Tua is out of this game. Tua's ruled out. Traveling West Coast, I think Las Vegas still is doing enough to take this
Vegas.
out. So
Vegas all the way. That. I didn't even realize Tua was out. Vegas, easy.
Tua's been ruled out as of today, which changed that line. I'm sure the line's actually gone down, which is interesting, which means people are putting money on Miami. Okay, which again probably speaks to the public.
Go figure.
And a lot of people in the media and the media sharps not buying the Raiders. But we'll move on. I think we got to find the Jets at Denver is what I've got next on the list here.
This is a good one.
So as of last night, I had the Tampa giving 1.5. I just don't have it on screen here. See if you can roll it to the middle. Oh, there we go. Yep, Tampa. All right, so still 1.5. Yeah, this one, I'm actually taking the Los Angeles Rams. And I'm actually, it's not an upset special per se, but I think they win this game outright. I think at some point, the Rams are looking fantastic defensively. Stafford is giving that offensive dimension they have not had under Goff. They have receivers galore. Cooper Kupp could potentially finish as a top 10 receiver. He's been off the charts. They haven't even unlocked Robert Woods yet. You got Van Jefferson subbing in. You've got Tyler Higbee at tight end who splits out wide. You know, the only thing holding this team back right now offensively is an injury to Darrell Henderson, who's got a rib injury. He's questionable for Sunday. But he's going to be – it's going to lend him more time to old friend Sony Michel. They got Jake Funk. Don't knock the funk. Also back there, I think the Rams at home. This could be a letdown game for Tampa. I'm taking the Rams.
I was hoping you would take Tampa like probably 90% of the country is going to do. Maybe not 90% of the bettors, but I think 90% of the general football fans would look at this and say Tampa's just, the best team in the league, the cream of the crop, and they are. But they're traveling, and the Rams are on the upswing without question. They are back. I am happy for Sean. The coach there, Sean McVay. It's not Sean Payton because that's who the Patriots are playing. Yeah, I'm happy for Sean McVay. I think he's a great young coach. He's got awesome energy, and that defense is mean as hell. I'm taking the Rams. I was hoping you were taking Tampa, but that's okay.
You don't have an upset special yet, by the way. Are you saving that, or is that still coming?
We digress, Master Jag.
All right. So next game, we got the Jets at Denver. And I have at that as of last night with Denver giving 10. I don't have it on screen yet. We may have to scroll up.
This is interesting.
Is it not on the board? It may have pulled it.
No, it's the first. It's the first. What it was it must have. Oh, interesting.
They may have pulled it. Well, nonetheless.
No, it's there. No, it's there. It's there. 10.5. 10.5.
10.5.
Jets getting 10.5. Yeah, I'm taking the Jets with the points. I know that Wilson's been terrible as a rookie. Do I think he's terrible? No, I don't. I think he has had a rude introduction to the league. That being said, I'm not buying into the Denver Broncos. I know that you are. Funny enough, if you look at the point differential between these two teams, it is opposite ends of the spectrum. The Broncos are plus 24. The Jets are minus 24. I just think I have a little bit too much respect for Coach Saleh to go out there and lay a complete egg. I expect the team in week 3. People are going to think I'm a Jets fan for crying out loud, but I do expect the Jets to play very hard in this game, and I think they will absolutely be within 10 or 11 points. So I'm taking the Jets. If that's an upset special, I really don't know.
You picking them to win?
I'm not picking them to win. I won't be surprised if they do. I won't be surprised if they do.
Flat out underdogs to win, though. So well, this is good. We're going to go head to head in this one because I am taking Denver to cover even the 10.5, even with the hook.
Yep. You know what? Give me the Jets. Give me the Jets to win the game. Give me the Jets. Yeah. I think they are going to play their tails off. I think they're going to play their tails off. I'm sure they're going to play their tails off.
And I agree with you with respect to Coach Robert Saleh. From what I saw at the Jets last week on the road at the Pats, Zach Wilson not ready for prime time. Denver, top 3 defense. You're going to Denver, Mile High. That's about as poor of a follow-up as you can get off of a game at New England with the showing they showed. I don't see it getting any better yet. Again, Denver's defense, Teddy B is done enough with that team offensively, even without Jerry Jeudy. They've got a nice running back combo. They've got Cortland Sutton was unlocked last week, caught 10 of 12 balls, I believe, 120 yards. He's potentially back. KJ Hamler, Tim Patrick. I think the Jets are going to struggle in the altitude. I know it's cliche, but they're going to struggle in general on the road there. Tough place to play against a solid defense. This could be a 24-10 type of Broncos win. I'm taking Denver, even laying the big number with the hook. I believe that brings us
to Green Bay and San Francisco.
Green Bay and San Francisco, which is San Francisco -3. This is your lead.
Yeah. I'm going to go Packers here. I am shocked at the line on this game. I'm sorry. This is a pick'em game, if you ask me. I can't believe that Green Bay's getting 3 points. With that offense, I'll take Green Bay every day of the week. I know that they are not quite firing completely on all cylinders. I'm taking Green Bay.
They got right the second half of that game against Detroit last week.
There you go.
So with you there, I'm taking Green Bay as well. I think Rodgers from California coming home, that team's starting to kind of get things
California
going.
kid.
San Francisco is they're not bad, but they're kind of in flux a little bit. I'm not impressed with what they have going on. Still tons of turmoil between injuries and everything else in the backfield. Garoppolo has been good enough, not necessarily impressive. They're still down their top cover corner, Jason Verrett. I just think at this point, Green Bay starting to get moving. I think Green Bay can win. Should probably win this game outright. I know maybe that's a little bit bold, but Green Bay is definitely going to cover the 3 points. We both have Green Bay. Lock it in. Done. I think that takes us to our Monday night game. Eagles at Cowboys. Eagles giving 3.5 divisional game. What do you think?
Only because I love Coach Mike McCarthy so much. No, I'm taking Dallas in this one. Dallas is at home. Big home game for them. I expect them to play well at home this season. I think they're going to stink it up on the road. I think they're going to drop a few home games. Don't get me wrong. They are. I don't know that Dallas. I don't know that Dallas is going to make the playoffs this year. I got to tell you, I think Mike McCarthy is about as inept as they come. I really do. And it doesn't help that he's got 3 head coaches waiting on his staff to take over. Oh, God, he is just not impressive. And there's a lot of head coach material sitting back, ready to assume the reins on that staff. That said, it's early in the season. I'm going to take Dallas here.
All right. I am going to go ahead and take Philadelphia. I tend to like these, especially NFC East games. They play them tough in interdivision games. I think, like you just spoke of, Dallas has some issues. They're not looking great defensively. They have one good cover corner, Trevon Diggs, who's good. But beyond that, it's questionable. They still are cycling through some in and out of some issues with the O-line. Some coverage issues. They've actually got DN issues. Demarcus Lawrence is now out on IR. They're bringing Gregory back in off the COVID list. They had to cycle Micah Parsons, the rookie, from linebacker down to DN last week. A lot of shuffling going on. McCarthy, I think overall a good coach, but he just has mind dumps. It feels like in big moments. You can't trust him. He kind of has an aw shucks. What the hell happened? Look on his face sometimes. I don't know. I think you couple that with the fact that I think Nick Sirianni, the young rookie head coach for the Eagles, has got this team kind of going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Still figuring some stuff out, but they've got Devontae Smith, a nice rookie receiver. Jalen Hurts, electric young quarterback. Still not buying into him as a passer yet, but drafting Devontae Smith, old teammate from Alabama,
helps a lot.
There's a simpatico already there, has been helping on the outside. I think they make enough plays, even in Big D. They can cover the 3.5. I'm going Philly. And
All right.
if I remember correctly, that covers the week 3 picks. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. So I think that brings, but we're rolling out of that. We were going to roll into a fantasy segment. We're running really long on time here. Plus, we had some guests lined up with both. Conveniently, go ahead and said they're not going to be able to make it based on some conflicts. The fact that it's 11 o'clock at night on a Friday could be it. That's fine. We'll roll past that. We'll hit that up on a subsequent episode. We're going to go right into our next segment, our final segment, a top 5 segment. And this is something that we're going to make a staple in these episodes going forward. Top 5s. Yeah, it's cliche. Everyone does it. We know. Guess what? We don't care. We're going to do it too because top 5s are fun.
They are.
And I think this one's, as you can see down in the banner, is a good one. I think people can relate to this one, especially in this area. Top 5 most hated Yankees.
Most hated Yankees. Here we go. All right. So shall I rattle off my top 5 and I'll start from the bottom and then you can give yours, or do you want to go spot for spot?
We're going to go spot for spot.
Okay. I thought so. Yep.
If you happen to have some drops that you want to incorporate during this segment, you let me know and we can bring them in.
All right.
I'm going to let you kick this one off, though, because I'm curious. Because I'm not going to lie. This is a tough one for me. And we texted about this previously. I'd have a hard time if this was a top 15 when I actually tried to go pen to paper on this. So there's a lot of names left out of this. You can anyone who might be listening to who stuck with us this late and might actually be watching this and wants to comment on this, via any social media or on YouTube, please, by all means, you can add us because we probably missed plenty of people on this, plenty of players, but we had to get to 5. Who's your number 5?
Okay, so number 5, I cheated a little bit here. It's two players.
Liberties are allowed. Liberties are allowed.
It is a two-way tie between CC Sabathia, Carlton Charles, and Mr. Garrett Cole. These are 2 punk pitchers that I do not have any respect for, and I'll tell you different reasons why. First of all, CC Sabathia's got a fantastic documentary out. I believe it's on HBO. I think it's called Under the Grapefruit Tree, and it is a fantastic rendition of his account of his battles with alcoholism. He's very vulnerable in it. He's very interesting. He's very honest. I highly recommend it, whether you're a Sox or a Yankees fan, doesn't matter. He really gives you a lot of good pieces of his soul in that show that showed a different side of him. That said, he's a jerk. This guy is a clown. He took Jackie Bradley Jr., the nicest guy in MLB. He's still in MLB, even though he's hitting 160 for the Brewers.
Still playing. You wouldn't know it, but he's still playing.
He took him to task regularly, talked trash from the mound to the plate during the game live, and Jackie Bradley Jr. had no idea what his beef was. You know why? Because CC literally, and he said this, made it up in his mind that he had to psych himself up to face certain opponents. So he just made crap up in his head about Jackie Bradley Jr. And now I got to go get this guy. So CC, that's a punk move, if you ask me, particularly when you hold on to it for your entire career. It's one thing to hold on to it for a big playoff game, then go find the guy under the tunnel afterwards and say, hey, listen, I got nothing personal with you. It's a me thing. He never did that. He waited until after his career was over to say, oh, the Jackie Bradley Jr. thing? Yeah, there was nothing there. I just made it up. He's a punk. So I don't really love CC Sabathia.
I don't know that I knew that story, but that is something. And I get that pitchers have to get in that place.
Sure.
That's a weird place to get for Jackie Bradley Jr.
For Jackie Bradley Jr., not David Ortiz.
No disrespect to JBJ, but that's not Big Papi. Correct.
Yeah. And so the other half of number 5 is Garrett Cole, Mr. Spider Tack, who couldn't answer a very simple question. Do you use Spider Tack? I'm not really sure how to answer that question. It's pretty simple, Garrett. It's yes.
Talk about a shell-shocked moment for somebody at a press conference.
There you go. I mean, that was his Jason Giambi moment. So he shares the number 5 slot with Carlton Charles Sabathia. How about you? What did you have, Major J, coming in at number 5?
Number 5. So I also took some liberties with this. I expanded my mind a little bit. And number 5, I'm coming in with George effing Steinbrenner.
Ooh.
I years and years and years just sitting back, watching the junk come out of this man's mouth. And I hate to talk bad about the deceased. Unless you're George Steinbrenner.
Old life blown away in the blink of an eye. Nothing left but all the time in the world to think about it.
That's exactly. He has plenty of time to think about it. From 6 feet under. Think about all the absolute junk this guy spewed out of his mouth. Absolute a-hole. This is aside from the fact that, I'm an angry Boston fan spewing. I get it. But this even goes back to just shave and you can only have a mustache on. Okay. We're treating our team like we're the U.S. military. Okay. Get it. This guy just up and down, ran his mouth. You know what? Obviously, sad when he died. But all set. All set for him, with him for years and years and years. Done. Moving on. Go ahead, number 4.
Number 4. I have to be honest. This one's a little bit more of my wife than it is me. That being said, I can't stand Brett Gardner. Brett Gardner is just such he just gets under your skin. He's ticked off all the time. Probably one of those guys that you really love when he's on your team, but when he's not on your team and he happens to be on the most hated rivals and he's played with them for 13 years, you just can't stand the guy. He's always chirping about something. It's like he's waiting to get hit by a pitch so he can slam his helmet down. And oh, by the way, he did throw his helmet in the dugout. Yeah, and so he threw his helmet in the dugout. It ricocheted back and hit him in the face, and he deserved it.
Fantastic moment. I think it gashed him. Love it. Absolutely love it. Number 4 for me, Jabba Chamberlain. And I'm not going to sit here and fat shame anyone. However, it doesn't help his cause. The guy was a little bitch on the mound. You go back to, I believe, 2007, his little beanball thing with Euclid, just deciding to just on his own go road, deciding to start beating. You know what, buddy? That guy, every time on the mound, you just wanted to just drive an FU home run right up his rear end. Yeah, complete idiot. Granted, as time went on, he seemed like he kind of straightened himself out. Okay, awesome, good for you. I'm all about self-improvement. Forgiveness, cool, but back then, all set. That guy had to go. Number 4, Jabba.
Interesting pick. Certainly, his star was bright, but it was short. He just wasn't around, long enough for me to quite put him on this list. But I'm also talking out of both sides of my mouth because you may be surprised by my number 1. Who'd you have at number 3? Major J.
Okay, kick it back. Number 3. I mean, probably no surprise. We're going to start getting into some cliche names. I get it. It doesn't change how I feel. This is more fun. Derek Jeter. And
had him at number 3.
Number 3.
Wow, is that a little bit low though?
Not for me.
Okay,
not for me, and you'll understand when we get to him. Only because the respect for him as a player was there. I cannot take that away or diminish that. But any Red Sox fan, you just can't stand Jeter. Just the guy looked like an idiot playing shortstop, had no range. We're constantly comparing him to Nomar. Nomar's better, this kind of stuff. The media, the national media lauds the guy for 2 plays. One, diving into the stands. Not a bad play. I'm not taking it away. It was a great play, but it wasn't Willie Mays over-the-shoulder catch. It wasn't, oh, my God, this is iconic. Capture this moment forever. Come on.
Do you know how many other guys probably made like similar plays throughout the course of the last 100 years in baseball?
It meant a lot during the game. I get it. But come on. That and the freaking flip. And I'm also that home against Jeremy Giambi, I believe. Okay, cool. Came up clutch, Mr. October. Yeah, okay. The clutchness was there. Just I'm all set with it. He was annoying as hell. You didn't take the off the field stuff. Not that he was a bad guy off the field, but just the glitz, the glamour, the women. Okay, enough already. You're New York. I'm good. Get the F out of here. Number 3, Jeter. I'm not saying anything any Boston fan doesn't already know or agree with. So we're
You like
Jeter.
it's about a prison
Who you
break.
got?
We'll be able to file that on the educational too.
Yeah, that's educational for sure. Number 3.
Everyone learning a lot.
including me with these sound bites. Number 3. Mr. Wade Boggs. You terrible. You Judas. How dare you?
Okay, I'm glad he made your top 5 because he was on my honorable mention that I had to make it a point. So this integrates it perfectly. Go ahead. Wade Boggs is your 3. Love it.
You only ride horses in Fenway Park. This is a man that I think was actually told by the Red Sox, we're good. You can go now and sign somewhere else. Unfortunately,
I have to be 256 or 258. Yeah, he was done, and I believe they just decided to move on. They had Scott Cooper coming up. Scott.
I have to make
an all-star team.
Yep.
Scott Cooper only made an all-star team because of the rule that every team had to have an all-star. But Scott Cooper nonetheless made an all-star team. They had Cooper coming up. They decided to walk away from Wade Boggs. Fine. However, going back to the point, it doesn't take away from the horse ride. Nothing will take away from that damn horse ride. And you know what? Not to hijack your number 3 here.
Hijack away.
A bit. NYPD, what the hell are you doing to let this man commandeer your freaking horse? I don't care if you're in the friendly confines of Yankee Stadium. Who does that? The badge doesn't do that. You don't put that man on your horse. What is that guy doing? What was that cop doing? Just standing there watching, giving a horse in the pat to let him move? Come on. You're better than that, NYPD. Anyway, go ahead.
No, Wade Boggs takes the number 3 slot. Disappointed that he left. Disappointed more so that he left and won a World Series with the Yankees. My number 2 was Derek Jeter. So Jeter is high on the list for me. And it's really interesting because, being a New England fan, right, with the Patriots, with the Red Sox, the last 20 years, we've been spoiled with championships. We've certainly waited a long time for them, but we've now been spoiled with them. Tom Brady would throw touchdown passes at the 2-yard line, and he would back off the field with 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and he would just be pumping his forearm like this. Derek Jeter, when he would get the final out of any game, particularly against the Red Sox, would give the fist pump like that, like in your face. Red Sox suck. You guys will never win. The game is over. You should get another beer now. And it was that goddamn fist pump in my face for 15 years.
You felt that one.
Yeah. It's Jeter for me. And everything that you said, I've always felt that he was mildly overrated. If he played for the Red Sox, he probably would have gone down in the echelons with Williams and Yastrzemski, but he didn't. He played for the Yankees. He gets the number 2 spot.
Okay, so my number 2, let me just cue something up here. My number 2 is Roger Clemens. I pretty much, and this even goes back to when he was with those 2 years in Toronto. But, the steroid bullshit, you can put that in post-edit. But the steroid BS, again, left the team sort of the same way as Boggs did, in the way that the team thought he was kind of done, which I think a lot of people thought maybe his best days were behind him, etc. Went to Toronto, had 2 amazing years, went to the Yankees, and just turned into it seemed like a complete D-bag assassin. Just the way that team lauded over him, he came off as a complete jerk all the time. The bat throwing incident with Mike Piazza, I thought it was the ball. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Susan Susterman, I believe, with the oh my God,
Susan
Roger Clemens is coming out of retirement. Stop it. All that stuff. It just rings in my ears. Just his time there was just, I would feel my face melt with anything to do with him. Just the unconsolable. All set. Roger Clemens, number 2. Get the hell out of here. He's my number 2. We're down to number 1.
Number 1.
And I'm surprised, based on your earlier comments, it sounds like we're not going to have the same person. So I'm not let you start.
I'm not certain that we are. So this one goes back to the absolute height of Red Sox Yankees rivalry. 2004.
Okay.
Mr. Pedro Martinez on the hill with a huge ego and a fastball to match. And he wanted to stick it right between the shoulder blades of Mr. Karim Garcia.
Who is Karim Garcia?
Why would you journalists dare to ask me, the great Pedro Martinez, about Karim Garcia? Karim Garcia instigated that brawl in which our beloved Don Zimmer made an ill-fated decision.
With Pedro Solé. With his head. But also was a catalyst for that team.
He was. And so interestingly, that's why Clemens didn't make my top 5, is because although Clemens taketh away, Clemens giveth quite a bit back. We got our hacks in against him towards the end. He was not, listen, he certainly helped them, but he was not the guy that I think we wanted, quite honestly, at that point. All the steroid stuff had started to come out. So for me, it's Karim Garcia. I couldn't stand the guy at any point, in baseball beyond that. Even after he left the Yankees, I'd see him on another team, and I'd say, that guy's just such a... So he's number 1. It goes back to that 2004 season.
Okay. No, that's a good one, actually. Mine is definitely more cliche. I'm surprised you didn't make your top 5, but I'm going to go ahead and for me, it's encapsulated in one picture. And I go ahead and bring it up. This freaking guy, done. A-Rod, I'm sure you're a really nice guy now. You had your time with J-Lo. The most ingenuine POS in baseball for how many years? I mean, this play says it all. All set with this guy. Couldn't stand him then, can't stand him now. Thank God that deal to trade for him never happened, because who knows what would have happened with him in a Red Sox uniform. Also, Royd Rager, you can say it about everybody at this point, and that during that time, it's fine. But there's not a lot to say about A-Rod that nobody doesn't already know. He's just just untruthful. Like, he's just full of shit, just full of it. This guy,
A-Rod,
word I was about purple
lightning
lips.
rod, yeah.
So that's mine.
That's a good that's a good one. I'm actually in the minority on A-Rod. I like A-Rod. It blows people's minds that know me, because I'm such a big Red Sox fan. I do. I like A-Rod. I always have.
I've come around on him now.
Now I actually think he's a fantastic commentator on TV. People bang on him all the time for it. I actually like him on TV. I think he adds quite a bit of value. He was fun to watch at the plate. I mean,
I think he legitimately has made some concessions on his own end as far as his past and the things he's done. I think
there you go.
He had no idea how to handle it with Texas, with the Yankees, etc. Just would double down on lies and avoidance and everything else. And finally, once he left the game, got into the media, sort of living a different way. I think it came around and he's kind of settled in. I don't mind him now, but in pinstripes back then, the hamburger moment will live in infamy forever. That encapsulated everything for me there. I think that wraps up our top five. And at this point, that probably starts to roll us towards the end of our podcast. We're rolling up on an hour 50. We'll see if YouTube even allows us to post this that long. But it's our debut. We're working on things. We're going to try to get it down. That said, any closing thoughts, Sundance?
Closing thoughts. Sundance has to get better at certainly his sound clips. I apologize about the volume level on some of those. You know what? I think we are headed into the best time of the year in terms of sports. End of the baseball season. The playoffs are ratcheting up. Football is really starting to take off. You start to understand what type of a team you have in October. September, you really have no idea what your team is going to look like. They win big one week, they get crushed the next, they fumble away a game here and there. But once October rolls around, you start to understand what you have there within your team. Basketball's right around the corner. It's an awesome time to be a sports fan, and certainly with the Sox on the doorstep of the playoffs, the Patriots with a big game this week against New Orleans. It's an awesome time to be a New England fan.
I couldn't say it better myself. Big weekend this weekend with the Sox, despite the loss tonight. They've got a couple more against the Yanks. We'll see where that takes us. We've got Pats against the Saints, as much of a must-win game as you can have in week 3, with another big game moving week 4. We will address all of this next week as we recap this past Yankee series in the week coming. We'll recap the Pats game. We'll look forward to the Bucks game. So wrapping up, you can find us, the Dos Padres, on Instagram and Twitter at 2 Padres Pod, not Dos, 2, the number 2 Padres Pod, on IG, on Twitter, which will be up and active soon. We're on YouTube. Hopefully by tomorrow, Saturday. Please like, comment, subscribe. Our audio hopefully will also be on iTunes, Spotify, for anyone who might actually want to get this version on there. Anyone who might actually care enough to even check us out, which we're, in the end, it's all part of our world takeover. Come join us. That's Sundance Kid. I'm Major J. We're the Dos Padres. Hasta tus sueños. We are out.